Hello. I hope y'all are having a better day than me. I had a few things go wrong in the shop. Nothing dangerous, but just found a few sand pits and some briar. I had some things just not work out the way that I'd like them to, and that's just the way it works. That's one of the deals with working in a shop with things that are natural, like wood. And that's a little bit of what I want to talk to you about today. I've been working with wood for a good chunk of my life. I have been doing machinery, working in machinery for a while. I even worked for a while right out of college in a big machine shop, running big metal lathes and machinery that built. I was building brass valves, interestingly enough. But at any rate, I've been around this for a while. I haven't been making pipes for that long, maybe a couple months. I really haven't even sold a pipe. I've sold some at cost to some friends while I'm learning and while I'm working through the little nuances. I feel really good about them right now. Actually, I felt really good about them for a while, but I'm just not. I want to make sure something's really good before I start selling. I've been turning bowls for a while. I've been making little trinkets for around the house, things like that. So when I started thinking about pipe making, because I've been collecting pipes for years now, I did like everybody else did, and I started watching the videos. And there are phenomenal videos out there for learning how to make pipes. A lot of people use metal lathes to make pipes. There's a lot of freehanders. There's all kinds of ways out there. I use a wooden lathe, or a wood lathe, because one, that's what I'm comfortable with, and two, I personally feel there's a little bit more of an art to it. It's not as precise, which has pros and cons, but I feel like I have a little bit more leeway to do some things. But sometimes that may not be what you want. This is the way I do it, and I come at it from someone who's been turning bowls and things like that for a while. So pipes are something that I'm moving into. Now, I did watch all the videos, and I watched a lot of the videos, and there are some things that I noticed as someone who's been a machinist before and someone who does build things, that was left out. And I don't think they were necessarily left out on purpose. I think they're just things that people believe is just broadly understood. So that's what today's video is about. Okay, there's 3 things that I think everybody should know when you're building pipes, but frankly, it's when you're building anything. Okay, the first one is to maintain center. The second one is to always use your tailstock as much as you can to support your wood. And the third is to plan out your sequence of events. I'm going to take each one of these at a time, and we'll go over them at the lathe. So one of the things that I really don't see talked about a whole lot in the pipe videos, and it's probably because I think people believe it to be kind of basic, something you probably should be understanding, but from all my time working with machinery and doing any of these things, there's certain things that I don't think that a beginner necessarily thinks about. Okay, one is maintaining center. Okay, when you are doing things that require concentricity, so things, if you need things to have the same center, be it the airway, the stummel, even the mortise, all of these have to have the same center for this pipe to function correctly and not be all over the place, right? So you can't just do some work over here and pull the pipe out and flip it around and do some more work and then come back to it. The minute you lose center, you have lost center. All right, so Maybe if you were doing something that is not precise, but this is all precision work. All right, so you have to make sure that you maintain center. So when this is locked in, you do the shaping, you do the drilling, you do everything that requires concentricity right then. Okay, now also when we're lining things up, it's perfectly fine to write on these things. I mean, you see I have a pencil line here. I always keep a nice this is a ruler, but it's a straight edge ruler, everything, right? So I can line this thing up with that hole, and I can see right where my air hole is going to be drilled. I can do so many things just by working off the right angles of this chuck to make sure that I have the right dimensions and even the right angles going on here, right? So what I'm going to do, I've already drilled the airway, I've already shaped the stem. I'm about to drill the mortise, and then I can flip this thing around and do other things because I'll be done here. But until I get everything that needs the same center done, don't move anything. You'll never get it back. Alrighty, so another thing is to use your backstop as support as much as you can. Alright, this is well supported, but right now, so I'm about to round off these edges, and this is going to be a point where this would move. It's going to be a lot of stress on this wood, and if this is going to move, it's going to move now. So if I did this, you know, like this right here, I haven't drilled the hole yet, right? Because I want this wood to have as much support while I'm rounding it off as possible. So we have to think about supporting your wood so that you don't have any, you know, cracks or you know, anything horrible happen. But any chance you get, you know, just go ahead and support it with a backstop. Now, what I could do also is once I do get this drilled, if I wanted to add something up to the top or just clean up the rim, this is big enough to where I can run it in there and still use this support. So as often as you can, as much as you can, make sure you give your stummel enough support while you're turning. And the last thing that you don't really hear emphasized so much is making sure you think through your sequencing. Like, what are you going to do first? I have a couple of lathes, but this is the precision lathe. I don't trust my beginner lathe to really give me the precision I need. I use it as a buffing station. So if I need to do something that needs to be glued up, or if I need to work on a you know, a certain part in sequence that means it has to stay on the lathe, then I may cost myself some time. Also, one thing I do whenever I put anything on using my pipe is I'll use a Forstner bit to make sure I have a flat surface. If you don't do that in the correct order, you may run into a point where you need a flat surface, but you've already committed yourself to using the lathe for another piece. So make sure that you have your sequence in your head, that you think through what's going to be tying up your lathe at all times. That way it doesn't take you all day. It's just like cooking, right? When you're cooking, you kind of have a sequence that you need to go through. If you go out of sequence, something's going to get cold, or it's just going to take you longer than you expect. If you put a little bit of time into planning, write it out if you have to, and make sure you get your sequence down. Then you won't find yourself waiting around for glue to dry or for something like that to happen while you could be doing something else. Also, if you plan it out while your glue's drying, you could be over there sanding something, or you could be over there prepping something else. You could be using another piece of machinery. So I think one of the things that we don't really hear is make sure that you plan out your sequence of events. It's going to save you a lot of time, and it'll help you be a more efficient woodworker. Alrighty, so if you use these 3 tips, I'm not saying it's going to make you perfect, but it's certainly going to help you out. And like I said, I don't think it's something that the other folks making pipe content left out on purpose. I just think it's something that, you know, if you've been around machinery for a while, if you've been doing woodworking for a while, they're second nature. But not everybody's been there. And I hope you learned something, and I hope this helps you out. Till we see you again. Have a great one.